Before we begin, let us take a moment to bring our hands together in veneration. Our teacher, Master, He is the Father of loving kindness and compassion. He who showed us a path to free ourselves from all sufferings, all mental pains that we experience throughout our lives, reminding ourselves the nobleness of our teacher. Let's bring our palms together in veneration, the Supreme Buddha. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Dear ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming here. And when you practice this path to free yourself from your defilements, you have to understand that you're not going to achieve something, a destination. Yes, we do have a destination, but that destination, I mean, it's not something, a place that you're going to. Nibbana is not something, a state. Nibbana is not something, a place to visit, a place or a situation to achieve. Nibbana actually with you right now. You just have to realize it. Nibbana on the spot. Nibbana is, people try to achieve Nibbana by doing something. No, ladies and gentlemen, Nibbana is not something that you can achieve by doing something. Nibbana is something that Nibbana happens within your mind when you stop doing your thing. It's very subtle point here. Nibbana is not something that, yes, you have to practice the path. That practicing, what I mean by practicing the path, it's not something that you are involving in an activity. You focus on what actually happens right now. That realization is what we call as practice. Actually, basically, when you understand the Dhamma, after that, what Buddha has said is, just live. Live your life with that awareness of, this is what actually happens. You don't have to do something, because you are connected to nature. You are part of the nature. You just have to realize that you are nature. In the Bible it says, it's not I, the Father within me, who does this work. That means, when you see me, you see that Swaminatha is doing a talk here. That means I am the one who is doing this talk. Talk means this speech, this discussion. I am doing it. You feel that there's a doer behind here. There's an action. A person is doing that action. It is utter fraud, ladies and gentlemen. It's not something truth. It's not the truth. This is totally nature. Nature is doing its. Nature happens. Let's recall. You have learned these things. In the sun, what is the reaction that happens? one hydrogen molecule, one hydrogen, another hydrogen, fuse into create what? Helium. A hydrogen atom, another hydrogen atom, combine them, that creates helium. So now try to personify this. That means try to find the doer behind this reaction. Does this hydrogen wants to be a helium? Does this hydrogen wants to be a helium? Yes? No. This hydrogen and this hydrogen doesn't have an agenda to become a helium. So this reaction happens when the causes are there. Every reaction, there should be conditions, right? When conditions are there, when all the conditions and causes, so these are the causes, the other conditions, it has to meet other conditions. When conditions and causes align, this reaction happens. There's no doer behind this reaction. We don't do anything, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we feel. We feel that we are involved in some activity. We are doing, since you were born and day in and day out, you all are doing something. Like today, we have set up this camera and everything. We gather here. So we have done something. That's what you feel. No, nothing happened. Nothing happened like that. Similarly, like this reaction, there's no doer behind this reaction. This generates light, energy. This is what you can see as sun. Now tell me, is there a sun or is there a reaction? Would you call sun if there's no, if it doesn't have this reaction? If it does not have this reaction, that doesn't make sense. Which it doesn't have reaction. You can't say it does not have that reaction. There's no it to have that reaction. The reaction itself you can refer to as it. Does this make sense? Reaction itself you can refer to as it. You can't say it does not have a reaction. The sun means this reaction, ladies and gentlemen. You have named the sun as sun. It's not a sun as an entity. It's the reaction. The reaction keeps happening. The reaction keeps going. Reaction being. When if there's, let's say, all the hydrogen that's in the sun, light evaporated and it's not there. Let's say something has happened, right? All the causes, what that means hydrogens, right, ran out. Now what happens? Will there be this reaction? No, because now the causes are not there. Since the causes are not there, now there won't be any reaction. Would you be able to see sun? No, because sun is what you can see right now as sun because of this reaction, ladies and gentlemen. Because of this reaction, it generates light energy. That light energy comes to your eye and it generates a perception. It generates a feeling, a sense of sun. This reaction, do you all agree that this reaction is nature? We all agree. We have to come to this agreement. This reaction is nature. This is natural reaction. Natural reaction means there's no doer behind a natural reaction. Nature means what? Nature has its own laws. That's what people say. Nature has its own law, We don't have that law. That's what you think. No, ladies and gentlemen. That's the problem we have. We think we have a separate law than nature. Nature is nature. We are unique entities that exist in nature. Yes, of course, we involved. We do so many things in nature, and like nature is nature, but we are here. No, that's the case here. This is what you have to understand. Nature is not nature. Sorry, you are not, like, you feel that you are nature. No, you feel that you are not nature. You are something separate entity from nature. But that's not true. See, this natural process is a natural process. How about water cycle? Water cycle, remember? The rivers are there, sea, and because of the sunlight, the water evaporates and clouds and then rain. So this water cycle, is there a doer behind this? You know, people think, when people can't understand the law behind this process, people have projected that ownership of this law to a god. The god is the creator. God is doing this reaction. But scientists have found that this is not something that God is doing this reaction. That reaction happens. Right? This is what scientists have found. The scientists have found because of the sun. Sun is providing this energy. See, now the thing is, this is the case, ladies and gentlemen. In the science, we call that sun is the energy provider. Right? We all agree with that. Without sun, there won't be life. Without sun, there won't be any reaction that happens on the earth. Excellent. Now tell me, who owns the sun? Who is doing the reaction in the sun? Why does two hydrogens come together and become a helium? Who defined that? Why it happens? Why these two hydrogen has to come together and create helium? What is the motivation behind this? Have you ever thought in that way? Just two hydrogens, like they come together and amalgamate and create helium, produce helium. Why? What's the point of doing that? Why that happens? Ladies and gentlemen, this is where you have to understand the cause and effect nature of the world. Causes come together and create an effect. 𝗘𝗃𝗵 paticca sambhutam. Causes come together, create an effect. The causes coming together, like causes are coming together, causes react together, causes rearrange together. This happens because there's a void that always generates. Now try to understand this. Now you have to think, why causes are coming together? Yes, we say causes come together to create an effect. Why? There's a void. There's a necessity. There's a vacuum. There's an attraction force. This is why causes come together. Causes can't be causes. Causes always what? Coming together. Causes bringing together. Causes react together. all the conditions are creating the environment that causes to react to make sure that causes react. This is the case. We can't. Now the thing is, ladies and gentlemen, we can't find what is the origin and what is the end. If it is a cycle, you can't find an origin and end. Which came first, egg or hen? Egg or hen? You can't define, because if it is a cycle, then you can't define the starting point and the end. So this is exactly what happens. This law, this nature has a characteristic that this reaction, A plus B, react together. Let's say it creates C. When A and B react together, create C. When this reaction happens, there's a vacuum that generates here. Due to that vacuum, due to that void, due to that emptiness that produce here, triggers another reaction. Right? This reaction triggers another reaction. This reaction triggers another reaction. Now, this is the cycle. Each and every reaction happens because of there's a necessity, there's a vacuum, there's a void, there's an indeficiency. It always attracts. Try to grasp this. It's like, that when in supermarket you have piles of things stuck together, right? Let's say like soap. When you take the bottom soap out, what happens? The top pile, whatever in the top pile, it comes to the bottom, right? Right? And think about in this case, you take one soap and put it in the again on the top of the pile. You do that reaction. Now it's continuously what? Cycling. It happens again and again and again. Because there's always something to come down. This is exactly what happened to us as our mind, and also this is what actually nature. Nature is full of cycles. Every reaction happens because there's a void, there's a necessity. There's something to fulfill. Now, tell me, if it is a cycle, it looks like it's something fulfilling a necessity, right? The reaction, when you think about a reaction, it looks like it fulfills a necessity, right? Something void, something vacuum, something deficiency, right? But the thing is, if you look closely, ladies and gentlemen, that doesn't right. You know why? A and B create C, right? These causes come together and it create an effect. You know what happens? This creation, when this A and B reaction happens, ladies and gentlemen, it creates a vacuum here. As a result of that, this reaction happens and another reaction happens. This reaction happens. Now tell me, is it fulfilling or it always rotating? Rotating. Because this reaction draws C. This reaction again draws that product. This reaction draws that product. This reaction draws again A and B. Likewise, this is the cycle. Once it started, it cannot be stopped. You all know that scientists have found energy cannot be created, energy cannot be destroyed. All agree? energy can be transformed from one state to another state. Now, the interesting point here, ladies and gentlemen, the nature is full of conversion of energies. When you roam around, when you go around the nature, you will find it's not like nothing is stagnant, constant, fixed. Everywhere you can see reaction, 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 reaction. One reaction leads to the other, reaction leads to the other, reaction leads to the other, reaction leads to the next reaction, leads to the next reaction. It's a cascade of reaction, ladies and gentlemen. Nature is not something stagnant. Nature is not something fixed. This is the quality of nature. One leads to the other, leads to the other, leads to the other. See, that's what happened in the water cycle. In the water cycle, what happens? Water evaporates. Because of that, there will be a cloud, and then because of that there will be rain. Because of that there will be rivers and seas, and then again water evaporates. It's continuously producing. It's a cycle. Everywhere you can see energy conversions. Format like energy formations, different formations of energy convert into another formations. This is what exactly you can see as nature. So nature is not nature. Nature is, you can't say nature is an entity called nature, because it's naturing. Naturing means ing, like being. Nature is being. It's not being. It's something, a process, continuous process. Right now you can see us. You can see, right? In order to see what happens here, ladies and gentlemen, each and every split of a second, that light ray that comes from this light is reacting with the electrons that are in the surface of the skin. That is also reaction. Don't think reaction is something A plus B equals C. Reaction is also what? Like light rays and electrons, there's a reaction happening. That reaction keeps producing, keeps generating. That's why you'll be able to see me. Do you think, right? Let's say one light ray comes here and reacts with my skin, and after that it emits, right? Agree? This camera or you will see something, and after that what happens? It's gone, because as long as you see me, like the moment that you can see me, right? Each and every moment that you can see me is an effect because of this reaction that keeps happening, ladies and gentlemen. Don't think that reaction is happen and that's it. No, this is keep happening. So it's like light energy comes, electron excited. Because of electron excited, electron goes back to the ground state. As a result of that, next light ray comes. When next light ray hits this electron, it again excites and comes down. See? So now, on your skin, is it a skin or is it something, a complete reaction that happens? Is it a particular, we can say this is skin, this is the skin. Skin means skin, one thing. No, it's a complete reaction. Electron excite, emit. As a result of the one light ray, the emission spectrum is producing light. Oh, yes. This is how we get things to our eye. So this is completely reaction, ladies and gentlemen. This is not something fixed. You know that your eye retina, is it something fixed entity, or in your eye retina, it will always produce electric impulses, Because continuously, ladies and gentlemen, since you were born, your eye retina is busy. Since you were born, your eye retina is busy. Your eye retina is complete, like producing that reaction. In the eye retina, there's a reaction. Form of energy converts light form to the electric form. Right? It converts. It always generates that. Light energy to the electrical energy. Electric energy, the impulse. This generates, continuously generates. Now tell me, right now, when you see me, right? Are you doing something for this reaction, or this reaction happens? Are you producing impulses? Are you the person who produced the impulses, so this reaction happens? Reaction happens, right? When the conditions are there, when there's blood supply, when you eat something, when you have food in there, when conditions are met, when conditions are aligned, this reaction will happen again and again and again and again. It generates what? Perception. Now here's the point. Now tell me, this perception, can this perception isolate from nature, or this is the cascade of reaction that happens, and this is the end point? Not you can't say end point, because there will be something happen after that as well. We don't know, but this reaction leads to this reaction leads to this reaction leads to the brain reaction leads to the perception. Now tell me, where can you separate it? Can you separate it? This part is you. This part is you. Which part is under your control? Perception, or eye, or brain, or this whatever the electron excitation, or what? Which part? I mean, nothing. I mean, this total process, you don't have any control, ladies and gentlemen. If you think that you have a control in this process, that you are ignorant about this. You don't have any control here. If you close your eyes, you always see black color. That someone came and said, "No, Swaminatha, I can control. If I close my eye, I can't see anything." Oh, of course. But even you close your eyes, you can see black color. Perception happens, ladies and gentlemen. Don't think perception is not happening. Perception happens. Recognition part is not happening because nothing to recognize. That's totally okay. That's actually acceptable. But you recognize black color. Close your eyes and see. When we close our eyes, what happens? When we close our eyes, we can see black color. The black color perception, black color recognition happens. It's not you who does this, ladies and gentlemen. It happens. That's why Jesus has said, it's not I, the Father within me, who does this work. Seeing is a process, ladies and gentlemen. Seeing is a process that Father does. Who is this Father? It's not the God, ladies and gentlemen. It's 𝗃𝗃𝗁𝗵𝗃 sambhutam. It's the reaction nature of this world. It's the reaction nature of this nature. Nature is full of reaction. This nature does this work. Perception, actually, ladies and gentlemen, perception belongs to nature. It's not something that belongs to you. You can't claim your perception because perception is not something that belongs to you. Let's say, I can't say your perception and my perception. You know what? It's so dumb to say that your perception and my perception, because there's no different types of perception. Perception is a perception, ladies and gentlemen. There's no Mahinda Thero's perception and audience perception and Paramananda Hamduru's perception. There's no particular things called perception. Ownership for perceptions. Okay, you claim ownership because that when you claim ownership, how do you claim ownership? You claim ownership because you have things under control. Let's say you think, I own this land. Why do you say that you own this land? Because you project that land is under your control. Of course, don't worry, keep your lands. Right? Don't give it to a sasana. I'm not asking lands for sasana, but I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, but you claim that this is my land because I have the ownership. I have the right to do something I want onto this land, on this land. Build something that I want on this land. Except you claim that this car is mine. Right? You have a car, you claim that this car is yours. What you say, what you imply by saying that means you have the key and you have the control of the car. Everybody believes that this car belongs to you. That's why you have a rego. That's why you are registered under government vehicle authority, whatever the authority. You are registered under that authority. Accept? Agree? Now tell me, which government this seeing is registered under you? Which government document, which government act is implemented to, right? Claiming that seeing belongs to you. If you can't control, ladies and gentlemen, you can't claim an ownership. You can't say, seeing belongs to me. You can't say, ladies and gentlemen, seeing is something that belongs to you. Seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, thinking. Seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, thinking. These processes are natural processes that happens within your mind. It's not you who take the decisions, ladies and gentlemen. It's the mind that happens each and every moment because of the reaction. This nature, the reaction that happens in the nature creates this effect of perception. Perception is not something that like randomly happens. Perception happens because of the reaction, because of the environment. But the Buddha has found, so Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankara, Vijnana. This is the process of perception. For process of perception, the Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankara, Vijnana, we will explain the detail in future. Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankara, Vijnana, this is the process. This is the chocolate. This is the cocoa powder. This is milk. Right? What you have? This is sugar. And this is where you mix it. And you produce what? Chocolate biscuit? No, chocolate. Right? It's a process. It's a factory. Now, which drives this process? There are forces, millions of forces coming together to generate this process. When the conditions are right, process happens. When the conditions are aligned, process happens. Process is not something that there's no doer behind this process. When the conditions are there, process happens. Likewise, seeing is a process that happens right now without your control. You can't say, my eyesight. It's the same to say that my eyesight, ladies and gentlemen, because eyesight is not something that you own. Eyesight is not something you own. Thinking is not something that you are doing. Thinking happens. Remember in the initial part I showed you that there's a reaction, the cascade of reaction going on. Exactly. Think about when you wake up. Like today morning, if you think about when you wake up, what happens? You get an idea. You got an idea to what? Thought happens in your mind to go to the bathroom and brush your teeth. Now tell me, when you wake up, what happens? You take the phone and check the time or emails. Are you doing it, or that thought happens in your mind after you wake up? After you wake up, that thought happens in your mind. So it's not something, that this is something that you have to understand. It's not something that you are doing, ladies and gentlemen. That thought happens, it leads to the another thought, that leads to the another thought. Your total life is something, cascade of reaction, but you don't know it. Reflect about your life. You take this decision and that decision and that decision. That's what you feel. No. The decision has been taken. The decisions have taken. You are not doer behind this, ladies and gentlemen. When the causes align, decision taken. Not like you didn't take it, it's passive. There's no active. There's no action, it's passive. That's why, ladies and gentlemen, you can see in the Bible is written in which language? Ask, you shall be given. Seek, you shall be found. Find. Right? That means passive voice. Because this is what Father is doing. This is what the reaction, this is what the nature is doing. Reaction happens. Right? So this process continuously happens. It's not something there. It's not something like fixed. It's continuously producing. Right? This is not something there. It generates, continuously generates. Sight, sound, taste, smell, touch, thoughts. These are, ladies and gentlemen, these are a bunch of processes that belongs to nature. Don't claim the ownership. You don't have ownership of. You think that your eyesight, you hear the sound, you hear my voice. No, ladies and gentlemen, you can't hear my voice. Hearing happens and then recognition happens within your mind that 𝗬𝗏 is talking to you. Does that make sense? You feel that 𝗬𝗏 is talking to you, right? Actually, 𝗬𝗏 is not talking to you, right? Even this process is what? Thought happens in my mind and thoughts coming to the words, and that action happens and the vibration emits. This vibration creates sound in your mind and that creates perception. It's totally a cascade of reaction, ladies and gentlemen. It's not something that doer and the listener is doing. There's no preacher, there's no listener. This is the most important thing you have to understand. There's no doer behind this reaction, ladies and gentlemen. There's no God, there's no person. It's a reaction. This whole world is a reaction, ladies and gentlemen. This whole world is a reaction. There's no owner behind this. There's no owner. There's no, you can't claim that this is mine. That happens, that thought happens within your mind because of the ignorance. The mind is ignorance about what drives this nature. The fluidity of nature. You have to understand that the sun is a reaction. At the same time, what you see as nature, all things are reaction, including your mind. If you see this pen right now, what you can say, ladies and gentlemen, this pen is not a pen. Perception right now happening within your mind each and every fragments of seconds. Finally, what I have to say, this process that happens within your mind is not something that you are doing. It happens. It happens. It happens. It's like a river that flows. It's like a waterfall that falls each and every moment. Water is falling. It's like a river. It likes a river. It happens. It happens. It happens. Continuous flow happens. But the thing is, because of the ignorance, we feel that we are the one who is doing. That's why, ladies and gentlemen, in Taoism it says, in Taoism there's a nice quote, right? Nobody knows the existence of the master. Master does everything. Master exists. She has, but does not possess. She acts without doing. See, this reaction happens, there's no doer. She acts without doing. This is the act. She acts without doing. You don't have to do anything. It's not something doing. She acts without doing. She has, but does not possess. Things arise, she let them come. Things disappear, she let them go. When her work is done, people say, amazing, we all did it by ourselves. See, this is the ignorant mind that feels. Ignorant minds are the people here. The master is the nature. In this Taoism, the stanza, master is nature. People are the ignorant mind. So ignorant mind feels that they are doing all these actions. But no, ladies and gentlemen, because of the natural process, it happens, it happens, it happens. That's the reality of this nature. Please try to understand this. When you realize this, ladies and gentlemen, you become the nature. You align, you part and parcel with nature. You don't feel that you own things. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the way to come out from your own suffering. Because since you feel that you are the one who is doing everything, that's why you take the ownership, you take the responsibility to use yourself, your responsibility. Let it happen. Nature does everything. You don't have to do anything. Nature does. Stop feeling, stop sensing. You can't say, I can't say stop it. But when you realize this reality, it will stop that sense that generates within you that you are the one who is doing all this activity. This is the way to come out from all the defilements. This is the gateway to Nibbana. This is the way to relieve from the suffering. Permanently, completely. You don't feel vexation, you will not feel any guiltiness, you won't feel any resentment, rejection, dejection. No. See, what is the quality of nature? She acts without doing anything. Things arise, she let them come. Things disappear, she let them go. This is the quality, the characteristic of the nature. It happens right now with your mind. Your mind, I shouldn't say like that. Your mind. Whose mind? There's no owner for that mind. Mind cannot own that mind itself because it is not it. It is a process. There was Enlight. May the Noble Triple Gem be with you.